Hello and welcome again. We are getting close to the summer holiday break here in South Africa, which I'm sure we are all looking forward to. Usually around this time of year, we see a lot of lawyers who are unhappy in their current firm, wanting to open their own practice. And they use the summer holiday to prepare to open up on their own in the new year. I've had the privilege of helping a number of lawyers take this big step in their careers, and mentoring and guiding them and watching them grow and thrive brings me great joy. So if you're considering taking the step, this podcast will help you get your ducks in a row so that you can fly from day one. If this is not what you're planning, this podcast will give you great insight into considerations when starting and managing a law firm. I've just begun this podcast, and there will be loads of episodes to follow with fresh ideas and modern approaches to starting, managing, and working in a law firm. So please subscribe to my channel on the button below, and also join our Facebook and LinkedIn groups. The links are also below, so that you can ask questions, debate topics with myself and your peers, or share your knowledge and experience as a 21st century lawyer. Okay, so where to start with a new firm? Well, firstly, I'm assuming that you are comfortable, that you have an established client base from which to start your practice. That would be my number one priority, so that you can have work to do and fees to bill to pay yourself and any staff that you might employ, and of course your operating expenses. With that checked off, there are 5 areas that you need to focus on: strategy, regulatory, administration, finance, and marketing. Strategy is the what, the why, and the how of your business. When a proper strategic plan is done, the plan becomes the roadmap to achieving your goals. The what is that you will be practicing law for your own account. Yay! Importantly, you need to fully comprehend that this is your business. So often I see law firms, especially older law firms, forget that they are first and foremost a business. Businesses are successful when they have good systems, streamlined processes, and are run efficiently. These are topics I will go into in later episodes, and how to achieve peak performance for your practice. But for now, the most important thing for your strategic plan is to answer the questions on the why and the how. Why are you practicing for your own account? More work-life balance? Not a good fit for corporate? Believe you could do it better on your own? Whatever your reason, articulate it for yourself and how it will benefit your clients and your people that you may employ. This is your vision for your practice. How you do it is your mission. An example of someone going on their own from a corporate law firm may sound something like, our attorneys, while they work hard and are highly experienced ex-corporate lawyers, believe that working hard and having fun is important. Their work-life balance is what keeps them capable of always giving their best to their clients, and without the high overheads of a corporate practice, are able to provide excellent legal services at affordable rates. So while you're figuring out your how and your why, things like where you want to practice, office or work from home, what practice areas you will cover, what your look and feel and voice will be to your clients. Are you going to be modern, serious, experienced, fun? These things are also driven by your practice areas, who your clients are, what they respond to, and where you find them. Another very important decision to make early on in your planning is what type of entity your practice will be: solo practitioner, partnership, or incorporated. This decision along with an understanding of the amount of revenue you will generate, whether you employ staff and will pay yourself a salary, will determine some of the regulatory and administrative steps that you need to take to ensure that your business is compliant, not only within your jurisdictional regulations, but also your general business regulations. Remember, this is a business that you're going to run. So these are the first but crucial steps in crafting your strategic plan. There's much more to developing a strategic plan, and I will cover the plan in more detail in later episodes. But if you are thinking about taking that leap now and need help, you can reach out to me on jenny@driverevenue.net, or you can subscribe to my channel and join our LinkedIn and Facebook groups to engage with me and your peers for help. For the purposes of this episode, I will now focus on the overview of the other steps in a South African law firm context. The regulatory environment for South African law firms can be a minefield and is one of the most regulated jurisdictions I have encountered. So every attorney, whether practicing as a solo practice, in partnership, or as a director of an incorporated entity, is required to have been issued with a Fidelity Fund certificate within 1 year of commencement of practice for their own account, unless, of course, they have a valid Fidelity Fund certificate from their previous firm, where they may have been a director or a partner. To be awarded a Fidelity Fund certificate, attorneys starting their own practice, not having had one before, will need to complete and pass the exams in the Practice Management Training course presented by LEAD. There are 3 courses run each year, and the course duration is 4 months. All law firms are required, in terms of the Legal Practice Act, to open a trust bank account. This step in and of itself provides a conundrum for law firms, as there's a cart before the horse situation that arises. You cannot open a trust bank account with any of the banks recognized by the Legal Practice Council until you have registered your firm with the council. And you can't obtain your firm registration without providing details of your trust bank account. Crazy, right? Fortunately, some of the banks have figured out a way to solve this and open a trust bank account for you, which cannot be used until the registration with the council is concluded. The Financial Intelligence Center Amendment Act requires that law firms register and report directly to the Financial Intelligence Center. You will need to go to their website and register your firm once you have your firm's registration details from the Legal Practice Council. Solo practitioners and partnerships are not required to register for income tax, as the members are taxed in their personal capacities. When you incorporate an entity today, an income tax number is automatically issued, so you don't need to worry about an additional step to register for income tax. But it's important to make sure that you know and you have that income tax registration to hand when you need it. If you employ staff or pay yourself a salary, you will also need to register for PAYE, UIF, and with the Department of Labour. If you intend to take drawings out of the firm and only declare that income when you submit your tax return, you need to ensure that you register yourself individually with SARS as a provisional taxpayer. You will also need to monitor your turnover, as you are required to register for value-added tax as a vendor as soon as you identify that your turnover will exceed 1 million rand per annum, even if you are a solo practitioner or a partnership. If you decide to register as an incorporated firm, you will also need to submit annual returns every year on the Companies and Intellectual Properties Commission's BizPortal site. Getting your administration right from the beginning will ensure that your practice runs smoothly. A short list of items, which I'm not going to go into detail because I think they're pretty self-explanatory, but we can perhaps flesh them out in later episodes, are: what is your name of your firm? What is your email address going to be? What is your email client going to be? Are you going to use Gmail or are you going to use Microsoft 365? And what is your domain going to be? So that's kind of what comes after your email address. So mine is jenny@driverevenue.net. And it's one thing I do find with lawyers is that they will often use a Gmail account. That's not very professional. So don't have jenny.whatever@gmail.com, because it shows that you have not really set up a proper and professional practice. Do you need premises? If you're operating from home, are you able to consult with clients? Do you have a proper and professional area set up for that? You need a letterhead so that you can obviously produce correspondence, but more importantly, use the elements from your letterhead for all your other documentation, including any court papers that you might file. So things like logos and putting onto your invoices and the like. Have you looked at what your electronic and physical file storage requirements are? And then, last but definitely not least, have you looked at what business systems and equipment you will require? Because there may be some investment required there. Even if you are a couple of attorneys starting out and not just a solo practitioner, I would strongly recommend using the services of an outsourced, qualified legal bookkeeper. Using internal staff to perform bookkeeping and accounting functions or trying to do them yourself will hobble your success from the start. The worst underperformance I have seen in law firms is where lawyers themselves try to do their own books or they use unqualified staff. As a good lawyer yourself, you would recommend to anyone that they should use qualified legal professional to provide their legal advice. So why would you not use qualified accounting services for your financial records? While you may feel that you don't have the money to market your firm when you start up, it is probably one of the most critical things you need to do. Marketing your firm doesn't necessarily mean paid advertising. Many lawyers rely on word-of-mouth referrals as their main source of new instructions. So how do you do that? Well, probably the best cash you will spend to market your services is to kit yourself out with a professionally created brand pack. This will include your logo and colors, which will be teased out of you by a good marketing firm. And part of that process should be to establish who your ideal client or avatar, as they are sometimes referred to, is. So in closing, this has been a rather longer podcast this week, and yet I've only briefly touched on all the things that it takes to get your law firm, your new law firm, up and running. I will definitely do spotlight podcasts on each of these topics with experts from each of the fields, so stay tuned and subscribed to get notified of new episodes. Next week, I will talk about year-end cash flow crunch and give you some tips on how to manage that. Until then, be open, be brave, you're worth it. Cheers for now.